Ooh, what have we got here? Interesting. We appear to have a pair of $799 headphones and a pair of $300-ish headphones. These are my favourite headphones of all time, but I've been using these for 6 months, which begs the question, is it worth spending that much money on headphones, and can the Focal Bathys beat my favourite ever headphones of all time? I'm a lucky guy. I get to try lots of different headphones without having to buy them. Sometimes I buy them, but sometimes I don't buy them. And that was definitely the case with the Focal Bathys, which are, in fact, the most expensive pair of noise cancelling headphones I've ever put on my head. And these were very kindly sent to me by headphones.com, who are sponsoring this video. Trust me, they are the place to go if you want to buy very nice headphones like these. Check the link in the description. But in this video, I thought I'd revisit the Bathys after 6 months of using them. And I want to answer 2 questions. The first one is, are they worth buying? The second question, well, it relates to these, which are the Sony XM4s, and these remain my favourite ever noise cancelling headphones. I'm going to do a live listen test between these two later in this video. But first, let's remind ourselves of the specs of these beasts. I always have to remind myself of the specs of the Bathys because they are quite, well, they're quite technical, which is what you'd expect from Focal. They feature a aluminium/magnesium M-shaped dome speaker driver. They're compatible with a whole bunch of Bluetooth codecs, as you would expect, including SBC, AAC, aptX, and aptX Adaptive. They use Bluetooth 5.1, they have 30 hours of battery life, and they have noise cancellation with transparency mode. They also have Google Assistant and Alexa integration, and on the power button there's a setting for DAC, which means if you switch it to that setting and connect these to your smartphone or your tablet or your laptop via the included USB-C to USB-C cable, you can enjoy high fidelity music right up to 192 kilohertz 24-bit. All that stuff is very impressive, but also they've made an update to the firmware of these, which is even more interesting. It's not very often that I talk about a firmware update for a pair of headphones. They tend to be quite boring, but the one for the Bathys is actually quite interesting. So the first thing is side tone, which is when you can hear yourself better through the headphones with the mics on. I haven't noticed a massive difference with that, but actually the transparency mode on these, which is where you can let in the outside world, is pretty good. It's not quite on the AirPods Max level, but nothing is. But compared to a lot of over-ear headphones, it's really quite good. If this side tone thing has improved that in even a small way, then great. The next thing is quite exciting. It's a new EQ preset called Dynamic, and Focal have designed this to sound as close to the Harman Target sound as possible, which is, I won't go into the details of that, but it's basically an EQ curve which a lot of consumer headphones rely on to make them sound as good as possible for the mass market. It boosts the bass a little bit. There's enough presence there not to be too middly and horrible, and the top end is pushed up a little bit as well. You can also change the EQ settings now without playing music, which you couldn't do before. That's very useful. The next thing relates to the LED light on the side of the ear cups. This is an acquired taste, but the update means that when you change the setting for this LED light, so either you turn it off or you make it dimmer like I have, it will stay like that whether or not you're on Bluetooth or you've got these connected via a cable, which it didn't do before. You can now name your headphones in the Focal app, which is exciting. They've improved the connectivity as well, so Focal say that the device discovery and pairing is better, as well as Bluetooth and jack detection. I never had an issue with these when it came to Bluetooth. It was very, very reliable even before the update, and you can connect them reliably to 2 different sources. There's a few other updates, minor bug fixes and that sort of stuff, which I won't bore you with, but it's just nice to have a headphone manufacturer updating their headphones in an interesting way. That EQ setting alone, that dynamic EQ, is worth the upgrade. There is just one more thing to do, which is compare them against these, the Sony XM4s. This might feel like an odd comparison, but there's two reasons I'm doing it. One of them is because, sorry about this, I'm having to charge the XM4s, but one of the reasons is because I'm always going on about these headphones and I want to see how they compare against a much more expensive pair of headphones. And the second reason is, well, this is my channel, I can do what I like. Let's start with build quality, and the XM4s don't feel like a premium pair of headphones. They're very plasticky. The Focal Bathys, they're still a bit plasticky. The plastic is definitely much higher quality on these. I personally like the look of these. All of this stuff is completely subjective. A quick note on the cases, the Sony XM4 case is the best headphone case ever made. Bathys case is huge by comparison. Well, actually no, it's not that big, is it? It feels bigger than it is, to be fair. Noise cancelling, the Sony XM4s do beat the Bathys on this, but the XM4s are still the best noise cancellers on the market. So there's no way the Bathys can live up to that. Having said that, I do like the noise cancelling on these, but the time has come. Let's do the sound test. Now I'm going to run everything from my iPhone and Apple Music. I'm not going to use the DAC setting on this because that wouldn't be fair. Bluetooth only. I've left that dynamic EQ setting turned on these because I think that's the closest EQ to what the Sonys have. I always use Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer. I'll play some incidental music for you while I'm doing this. These sound so good. Honestly, they're just bright, so alive. I love that dynamic EQ. It's really made the sound somehow even better for me, and it was very, very good before. Okay, so the Sony XM4s are a boxier sound. It's very hard to explain this until you hear it, and these videos are never meant for audiophiles, guys. So if you are an audiophile and you're sitting there chortling away at my terrible explanation of this, I don't care. This is for normal headphone listeners like you, and well, not like you, but like me and most of my audience. They both have very competent bass. The XM4s are just a bit less exciting than the Focal Bathys. Jack of Speed by Steely Dan. Sound on the Focals is so much brighter. You're only really going to spot this if you A/B test these headphones. I always say this, if you buy either of these, you're going to be happy with them because they both sound fantastic in their own right. But it's only when you start A/B testing them that you realise that when you pay more money for a pair of headphones, you get more detail. The sound is brighter, like I say. It's a bit wider. The soundstage is definitely noticeably wider than the XM4s. You can hear the additional money on these. For most people, the Sony XM4s are I think, the most affordable and the best value pair of noise cancelling headphones on the market still. But if you have a bigger budget and if you really value high quality sound, they're amazing. There is some competition out there from B&O, from Bowers & Wilkins, and that's pretty much it actually when it comes to over-ear noise cancelling headphones. There's still something about these Focal Bathys that keeps me coming back to them. So if you do have that $800 to spend on a pair of noise cancelling headphones, you won't regret it if you put it into the Focal Bathys. Just remember to buy them from headphones.com, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. Thank you guys. Link in description. I'm gonna carry on using these because I love them. If you missed my first review of these, which goes into a bit more detail about their features and the sound and that sort of stuff, keep watching for a link to that video.